So there are a lot of reasons to get into Magic the Gathering specifically. The game has evolved over the years to where it has accommodated both the collector and the novice player who just wants to get into the game because their best friends found it out on some kind of social media platform. Magic the Gathering started in 1993 with base sets of Alpha, Beta, Unlimited. It then went into unspecialized sets such as Antiquities, Exodus, while still keeping the fundamental card game, which Richard Garfield created to kind of bring out the fantasy that Dungeons and Dragons gave us, but in a card-based format. And this is specifically what the Magic the Gathering website looks like. As you can see, these are mostly just Magic the Gathering cards that you can see both cross format in both standard, modern, EDH, which I'll always refer to as Commander, but for those who refer to it as EDH, that's sorry, just to let you know. So yeah, we got multiple things that reasons to why to get into Commander. Into Magic specifically. There are multiple different formats, as I just preluded to. There is standard, modern, legacy, vintage. Vintage being the oldest format, which basically has all the cards in the entire game with the restricted few. The only cards that are not allowed in any format are the anti cards, and anti is just way back when Magic was first being created was Magic's way of gambling. Of course, that got nuked or nerfed like very fast. So now Magic the Gathering is primarily a trading card game with few commodities, which is primarily just for trading. So it goes all the way back to Vintage, Legacy, which is basically the entire Magic the Gathering game except for the Power 9, which are the cards that make up really the Vintage format. Got Modern, which is from, I believe, M8 to Standard. Oh, the most recent set. And then, of course, we got Standard, which right now I want to say it's from Oath of Gatewatch, no, Battle of Zendikar through to Kaladesh. Um, so what does all this mean? So Magic the Gathering, like I said, is a fantasy-based game where people can come and play different formats at different skill level, at different price points specifically, because of course, with Magic, it's really you can buy a cheapo, $15 standard deck, and you know what? I have one, and it works great, and you will win games. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're necessarily the most skilled of players, but it just means that your price point is low, and for example, you like to deck online, which is something that this channel will help you with specifically. As a player, I have played almost every single format. I've played everything from Time Leaders, which was a kind of a mini version of Commander, to Vintage. Which is actually my highest scoring record on file. I came second at GPLA in Vintage Side Event, and then I've been on and off Legacy, Standard, player Modern as well for quite a while. But of course, my main format is Commander. I have 3 Commander decks as it stands right now: Omnath, Locus of Mana, Krenko Mob Boss, and Talrand, the Sky Summoner, all monocolor Commander decks. My goal ultimately is to make one commander for each color, and then go into dual colors, and then eventually tricolor. But that's my personal feelings and thoughts on Magic the Gathering. I do. That is what my ultimate goal as a collector and player of the game, and what I want out of my time with Magic. Because that's what I see to be most appealing. But for different people, it means different things. Some people, it means collecting. Some people, it means trading. Some people, it means making money, which there is a market for Magic the Gathering, and that is something we will get into later. Other people's the community, and for that I can actually agree. Magic the Gathering would be nothing without its gathering of people. It would be nothing without its community. We have some of the nicest men, women, children, adults, teenagers, early mid 20s, whatever, people in the game, and they're honestly the nicest people. And of course, this channel is going to do nothing but promote that, and hopefully the people who watch this channel will understand what we're trying to do here. So yeah, just to give you more in depth in what I'll be doing on this channel. Of course, we'll be looking at the products that we see from Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast being the people who bought the game off Richard Garfield way back in the 90s, which then got sold to Hasbro. But Wizards of the Coast still is the label which is attached to Magic the Gathering. And also the ones that control all of the products and gameplay, for example, organizing events through other local stores and other things like that. So what we'll be looking at specifically are things like deck techs. For example, this is my most recent deck that I'm planning on building. This is Ishimaru Commander. So Ishimaru is a 1 white legendary creature hound 2/2, otherwise not super great, but the deck is primarily Voltron for win, honestly. So we got the Jite, we have the Trading Post, we have the Sword of War and Peace, Light of Shadow. We got all the swords pretty much. We got Soul-Ring, Skullclamp, Shield of Caldra. I can never say this word. Shield of Caldra. We got all the different creatures that we need to make it up. Oh, Academy Rector, I don't actually think. It's okay. I might want to swap that out for something new, because I was thinking about if it dies, I can just go get my Oblivion Ring as removal. We got the mass removal. We got the instants and sorceries. We got the lands. Nykthos Rogue's Passage. So that's just, for example, one deck tech that I'm working on right now that I'll be turning into real life, and I'll show you the cards once I get them. Other things we do, we look at the meta. So this is the meta for Legacy, but the meta is broken down into different formats. We got Vintage, which we'll be looking at pretty heavily, I would say, because Vintage, like I said, is my main format, and also the format which I feel I have the most fun in. We'll be looking at Modern for those who, of course, don't want to break into Vintage and Legacy, but just want to have that competitive edge. So, for example, right now what I'm running in Modern is Modern Merfolk. And that's kind of a thing that I hold between Legacy and Vintage. I play Fish in Vintage, Legacy, Merfolk, but with more of a heavy control element. And then of course we have Standard look. We have a look at the main top decks, where we will look at what makes the top decks, main day coverage of, for example, Grand Pro Tours, Star City Games. We got a lot of things going on in Standard right now. We got, my favorite one that I'm seeing right now is Go Aggro, which, as people don't know, would be running the Pummeler archetype with Energy. Energy right now is a archetype that came out in Kaladesh, where with different spells you can create counters known as Energy. They're not attached to anything, but they're more so just attached to the player, kind of like how experience points are connected to commander cards in Commander for the commanders who it matters to. And you remove those energies and you get different effects. For example, Pummeler is a 3-mana artifact creature. Where it comes into play, you get 3 energy. It has the activated ability of pay 3 energy, non-tap, and double the power and toughness of this card. Of course, it comes in as a 1/1, but through multiple ramp effects, you can make it a 5/5 very easily with cards like, and I have it right here, Larger Than Life. It's a 1 green, 1 color sorcery. Target creature gets +4/+4 and trample to end turn. Now that energy, of course, works. That ability works with a +4/+4 counters, or +4/+4 just pump spells. So that +4/+4 turns the creature into a 5/5. Pay the 3 energy, it becomes a 10/10. Pay another 3 energy, that's 20/20. The fastest I've seen this deck go off is turn 4 kill for 20 damage, or 21 damage, I would say. And then we got Commander. I don't really look at the meta for Commander, but if those who want me to, I will. The meta for Commander, for those who don't know, is known as French. That is basically a less casual way of looking at Commander. For example, you don't run Sol Ring, you don't run some of the big big hitter cards like Oloro or Derevi or these other kind of commander cards. But of course, you still have the main commander ban list of Emrakul, Griselbrand, Prophet of Kruphix, and other cards like that. So those are just kind of what we would be looking at specifically. For example, right now at the top of the meta list is Titania, Protector of Agraroth. Of course, this is the mono green land deck. When a land comes in, and I believe when a land comes in, she specifically does something. Let's just have a look at her real fast. So yeah, when Titania, Protector of Agraroth, enters the battlefield, turn target land from your graveyard to the battlefield. So she's not only a mana ramp or a mana recursor, but whenever a land you control is put into graveyard from the battlefield, put a 5/3 elemental creature into the token. So of course you're going to want a lot of like wasteland effects, Terramorphic Expanse, fetch lands to get out lands from your deck, put them into play, but also at the same time getting a 5/3. So this is a very aggressive build. You run a fuck ton of lands, a lot of fetches, like I said, a lot of Evolving Wilds, a lot of lands that kill themselves. And then, of course, you also run cards like Expedition Map for ramp, and you run cards like Sakura Tribolder, again, more ramp. It's a lot of ramp in this deck, a lot of ramp. You run Harrow for draw cards, you crop rotation again for the sacking of lands to get more lands into play. Oracle Moldiah for putting more lands from your hand into play as well. Crater Behemoth has a win condition just to swarm out your opponent, because by the time it comes turn 6, turn 7 in Commander, which of course is, I would say, an average gamer Commander, you already have like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 5/5s in play, maybe not even the 5/5s, but you look at all these like 1/1s, you got Arbor Elf, you got Birds of Paradise, you got Elvish Mystic, but those are just land ramps. You got Fyndhorn Elves, Lotus Cobra, everything you have in this deck is designed to put out the commander out faster. This commander deck specifically was created by Sir Puto Viscloth. This is again a French list. So even though this is a French list and is not a casual commander, I'll still look at these just to get ideas for commander decks and commander deck cards. So yeah, finally after that we have MTG Finance. So MTG Finance is probably the most interesting, in my personal opinion, when it comes to Magic the Gathering. How cards are priced and how they change over time. Right now I'm using a little known website called Dongleware, where it gives you the most up-to-date TCG mid and other prices. So for example, you can do TCG low, TCG mid, and TCG foil. These are all the main over $1 card changes that the site has to offer. So for example, right now, if we look at today, Koth the Hammer is seeing a $1.97 increase from its regular. It gives you the picture of the card. It gives you the price where it's at. It gives you the price change over time. So as you can see, starting in November 3rd, 2016, was at its lowest at $7.25. And right now it's almost kind of doubled. It's almost at $14, but it's just creeping by $13.50, $13.40 right now. So I would expect to say that if you have a Koth right now, I would hold on to it for maybe a couple more weeks, but I'm sure that change is something to do with either Commander or actually no, I would say it has something to do with Modern. We've been seeing a lot of Planeswalker decks in the meta right now, especially since Chandra came out. We also have a lot of change with, for example, Chromatic Lantern, the treasure cards, the ones that came out in Kaladesh, the artifacts, which were kind of like expeditions, where they're Masterpiece. Sorry, I was trying to remember the name. The Masterpiece cards, where they came out in Kaladesh as like one in every 356 pack. So crazy, one per case kind of card. Of course, they're not all like $57. You get some that are a little less. You get some which are way more. I think right now the most is gonna be Mana Crypt, which I think is still creeping around like 150. At one point they were $300, so they tanked a lot. So yeah, we got all the card. Oh, this is what I'm saying. Like Koth, the Hammer, Teferi, all these cards are like going up in price. I think this has a lot to do with Modern right now. And then we got the Gear Hulks. Those are going again up in price because people are starting to see how good they are. And now we have Doubling Season. Doubling Season. The reason we see a price spike in this card is because we have cards like the Atraxa and Commander cards that recently got released. Like for example, the Breed Lethality Commander deck, which it doubles all counters on target permanent. It proliferates everything, and with Doubling Season in that deck, it doubles the double. So, well, not doubles the double because Atraxa gives +1. This would then double the proliferate, which is insane. I've seen people run Atraxa for Commander, like Super Friends, but I've also seen it run with Infect, which is gross. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm at with reasons to watch Magic the Gathering video and play Magic the Gathering, and also why you should watch my game. My name is Zodiac Games. Sorry, this has been a longer view of what we plan to do here at Zodiac Games and on my channel. I hope you have a nice day. Any constructive feedback, please leave it in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and have a great day. Bye-bye.